What is up, everybody? How y'all doing? We should be just about ready to go. We got both players on each side. Let me go back here real quick. Pop out the chat. This will be a fun match, man. We got Bailey as a replacement and Apple, of course, as one of the top 30 players. I think Bailey's going to show up and show out. A lot of our replacements have really proven themselves in these matches. Okay, we should be pretty much all set. Go ahead and type in their chats. What up, T? What up, Andy? How's it going, bro? What up, Apples? By the way, we definitely have to stream that semifinals match against Stone, so we'll need to make it work with everybody. But luckily, both of you are PST, I think, so or at least in America, so it should make it a lot easier. With tomorrow night, tomorrow night's like the only night I will be busy, so I'm thinking potentially Saturday if it works for both of you. Since you guys are in semifinals, you know, we can delay it a little bit as long as you guys it works for both of you guys. All right. Looks like Apple's screen. I might have boofed Apple's screen up. Might need to fix this. Oh, maybe not. I think we're missing part of like this side of Apple's screen here, so I'm gonna. Alrighty, we're jumping straight into this one. We both got them on live, but it looks like Apple's well ahead of Bailey, so we're definitely gonna pause Apple's side things that are gonna be busy for me. Gonna be traveling to SoCal for the weekend. Can always do next week on Monday or something. Yeah, we could do next week as well. I could maybe make tomorrow work. We'll see. Could tonight potentially work for both of you two? We could talk about tonight. Oh, place your bets. Good call. Good call. Good call. Let's start a poll up. Apple, Bailey, start the poll. Okay. I'm gonna pause Apple's stream here. Apple is way ahead. Bailey's got like a 20-second delay on or something like that. Oh, I think I went a little bit too. And now Bailey's a little bit ahead. Wait, I boofed this whole thing. Wait, have I? You know, that's pretty close. All right, let's look at the drafts here. We got. We also don't have Truth on call. He's a little bit busy right now, so it's just gonna be me. So we got Bailey grabbing that Black Widow Deadly Origin. He definitely is a big Black Widow Deadly Origin fan. Kind of a rare sight to see. Let's see. So he's gonna go ahead and grab the Shuri. He has a Domino. Apple on the other side doesn't have a direct counter to Domino, but he does have indirect counters in Juggernaut and Kushala. We're seeing the Zola as well on both sides. We got Tuma on Apple's side, and then we have Deathless Thanos on both sides here. Apple does have the rank advantage on that Deathless Thanos, though. And Apple also does have that Onslaught to counter the Bullseye. Not the easiest counter in this meta, though. So we should be seeing the Onslaught for the Bullseye there, so we shouldn't be seeing Onslaught on... Oh, we do see Onslaught on defense. Okay, so... that does make things interesting. Bailey's going to have to either use Shothra or Deathless Thanos for this. Going to go for the Shothra. That's going to make Bailey very vulnerable to the Deathless Thanos, unless I don't know anything about Black Widow Deadly Origin, and she could potentially take Thanos. This first round's looking like it's going to go to Apple, though. But let's see how it plays out, man. Anything can happen against Domino, and Bailey, if Bailey has a perfect fight, gets a little bit of willpower healing, this could be tight. Nice start here for Bailey, and as well for Apple. Gets that little evade, does not get punished for it though, luckily. Let's see if Apple gets the crit fail on the Fury. If that happens, then might be tough scenes for Apple. We see Bailey get that SP1 thrown. I think we're gonna see another SP1 out of Bailey for Shothra here. And yeah, Apple is just cooking this fight. It's over. As well as Bailey's playing this, you know, it really did not matter too much. Gets the Neuroshock, or excuse me, the helmet, whatever that's called, for the willpower healing. Playing this very, very well. Trying to get Onslaught to just back up. Onslaught does not want to back up. Nice. Finally gets the heavy out of Shothra here, but it's just still not enough just yet. Gonna see one more SP1. Goes for the intercept. Just a perfect fight out of Bailey, man. Super well played. That's a big reason why I wanted to invite Bailey to this tournament. A very consistently good player, I would say. Okay, and it looks like Bailey's screen went black there. It's happened a couple times already on stream, so hopefully that doesn't happen mid-fight. Regardless, though, here, it's looking like Apple probably will take this first game. I think we're going to see Thanos on defense in round 3. Bailey's going to have to use the Black Widow Deadly Origin for this. Zola, switching it over to Atuma, which is a smart play, really. It could be a smart play. Let's see how it fares here. We're gonna see the Zola out of Bailey. Nope, switching it to the Bullseye. I'm a little bit surprised with that. I expected Bailey to throw Zola here because Bullseye was definitely his best defender. So next round we should be seeing Zola on defense for Bailey. And my guess is that we will see Deathless Thanos on defense for Apple. Definitely have to use Shuri here, though, for Bailey. Watch a lot of Bailey's War videos. Yeah, yeah, very talented player for sure. Yep, there's the Shuri. So we're gonna have Shothra on Apple's side versus that Bullseye. That's gonna be a. Let's see if we gotta time this up a little bit better. It looks like it's pretty well timed. I think we could do this, and that should be just about right. Let's pause it one more time. Nice. All right. There we go. Now we're more lined up. So Bailey, looks like Bailey took a couple hits while I was messing with stuff there. It really shouldn't matter too much in this fight. Apple is a phenomenal Shothra player, but Apple's going to have to take one of these SP1s on the block, I feel like, but maybe not. I mean, this has been played super well out of Apple. Oh my gosh. We might see a perfectly clean finish here. Oh my gosh. Wow. This is truly unbelievable. Can Apple finish here? Oh my god, that was like the perfect fight. I think Bailey's going to be shocked coming out of this one. Let's hear Bailey's reaction.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah,
I mean, I shouldn't have made the mistake that I did at the
yeah, man. That was a perfect fight out of Apple. That is terrifying if you're seeing that on Bailey's side. But yeah, that's a 1-0 for Apple. I do believe Apple had the round advantage or the round 3, the advantage in round 3. We're seeing the restart out of Bailey there. Smart, quick restart to avoid any game crashes or whatnot. Yeah, that was a ridiculous fight out of Apple there. What up, Hike? How's it going, bro? I didn't know I didn't know that Shother could do that fight without baiting an SP1. We definitely have Bailey as the underdog here though, so and Apple, while Apple does not have a big account, Apple is definitely a scary opponent to face against because of, as you saw in that Shother fight against Bullseye. I mean, there's not many players in this game that can do that fight that perfectly. So I didn't pay too much attention to the bans at first. Let's see what each opponent goes for. Apple's banning the Serpent. I don't believe Apple has Serpent in their deck. We're seeing the Nick Fury and a Red Skull ban. Red Skull ban's a little interesting, but we also do on the other end see Bailey go with the Starkey ban, rank 4 Guardian ban, and then gets rid of the rank 4 Thanos as well. So Apple goes ahead and grabs the Shuri off rip. Bailey does have this rank 4 Void, kind of a unique roster to throw into this tournament because Bailey's definitely more of a war-focused player. So let's see how that rank 4 Void works for him. Titania, unfortunately for Bailey, should shut that fight down fairly well. On the other end, Bailey gets the Onslaught and Titania as well, so that might shift the need for Titania to go towards Onslaught for Apple, and Apple goes ahead and grabs the Sheath, which should counter Void very, very well. Unfortunately, Void is pretty well countered this meta. There's just plenty of skills in players' decks that just shut him down for the most part. We see Bailey go ahead and grab the Juggernaut, and he's going to get the Crossbones as well. This last round, Bailey's going to be probably looking for a better defender. Yeah, switches it, but goes back to the Crossbones. Smart play because Apple does have that Photon that he's going to have to deal with. And we're going to see Zola out of Apple here. And now we should be seeing the Domino. The Domino for Bailey. Oh, goes for the reroll and is going to go ahead and get that Zola as well. I think after, oh yeah, I didn't think about that. Apple got that Shuri off rip, so that makes sense. Quick Shuri pick because a couple of the domino counters are banned in this meta, so or in this match. So it does make sense there. We're gonna see Apple go with Zola on defense first round. Do we see a mirror here? We might see a mirror. Yep, there's the mirror. It'll be interesting to see what Apple decides to do. We're going to see Titania or Juggernaut here probably. Okay, we're going to see Titania, so that's going to hold Juggernaut on Bailey's Onslaught. And it's looking like, oh, so Apple switches over to the Kushala, and Bailey's going to go for a Juggernaut here. Um, Unfortunately for Apple does not have too many defenders, but Shuri could be used as a defender in these later rounds. Let's see how this one plays out. Yeah, it's just me on call today, at least for this match. All right, so this match for Apple, Kushala versus Zola is actually fairly doable, especially in this meta. Should see the SP2 here. Let's see if, so yeah, no passive. But look at that damage is already taken. And on the other side, Bailey's been absolutely cooking this fight against Zola. Just needs one heavy there. Beautiful. And baiting out that SP1. They are both about at the same health here, though, for Zola. Man, Apple's cooking this fight. Bailey's got to go fast. This fight's going to be over for Apple here. Yeah, man, that is, wow. What a picture-perfect fight out of Apple there. Man. Bailey does that fight perfectly too. Let's hear Bailey's reaction.
There's no way that fight is that good.
Yeah, Bailey is shocked over there. That beautiful fight, really, out of both opponents here. Apple just got the slightly better AI maybe, but man, I cannot believe that Bailey just lost that round. I think Bailey's shocked as well. So now we're going to be looking at what does Bailey do against the Shuri on defense? We're going to see Void placed here. Yeah, Shuri's going to be a major problem for Bailey. I'm really not too sure what the plan is here. Could use Crossbones, but not really an ideal counter. You can't really get those heavies off very well, but is going to be forced to use the Crossbones. Oh, switching it to the Titania. Nope. Going back to Crossbones. Does not feel good about that Crossbones against the Onslaught, the rank 4 Onslaught. So, and of course on the other side we're going to see Chilth used against this Void, which should be a really fast fight, man. Chilth in this meta is just ridiculous. So let's see if Bailey can get, you also really, I don't think you can really get the Fury builds up very easily in this matchup. Oh, you do, I guess. Okay. So it's still doable, but the problem with Crossbones against armor up champions is it really mitigates a lot of his damage. But honestly, Bailey's playing this great so far, but it really just doesn't look like it's going to matter because, yeah, Shield should absolutely dominate this Void on the other end. Yep, just going for all those heavies, and that fight is done in about 40 seconds. Realistically, man, Bailey's played this fight on the other side just so well, though. Like, this is not a super easy matchup to do. We probably will see Bailey take down the Shuri here. Yeah, man, that's a very good fight out of Bailey, but it really just does not matter. So Apple's going to go ahead and grab this 2-0 lead. Both opponents are really playing just about perfectly right now. So, you know, it is a 2-0 lead for Apple, but I feel like Bailey's got to feel good about the fights that he's putting up. Got another black screen out of Bailey here. Hopefully that doesn't last too long. Yeah, I think it just cuts in and out every once in a while. Pretty commanding lead for Apple here, though. All right, now we're going to go ahead and see a couple different bans, or one different ban from Bailey. He's going to take away that Kushala. That does open up the Thanos, though, and Apple does have the rank advantage on Thanos. I think something that's really holding Bailey back. I don't think Bailey has Starkey in his roster at all, so he's forced to ban that, which makes a lot of sense. We should be seeing Zola taken here out of Bailey. Apple goes for a couple defensive, offensive champions, defending away from any photons or anything like that with that Mantis, and that Shothra is just super versatile, very problematic champion when you're facing Apple. You saw how Apple took that the bullseye earlier in dominant fashion. So Apple goes ahead and grabs the Titania. That should be potentially the Zola counter. Let's see. Bailey's going to try to split that Titania. Potentially, he's going back and forth. Yeah, going to split the Titania with the rank 4 Sasquatch. Second rank 4 Sasquatch we've seen in this tournament. That's potentially a very valuable champion. We see Apple get the Korg in the previous round on defense. Looks like Bailey does have one option for that at the very least. And also gets the Zola. So now Bailey's looking for that Zola counter right now. We're probably going to be seeing Shothra as his Zola counter. And he is going to... Okay, so he's... just very at the very end, grabs the crossbones. Very huge pickup actually for Bailey because Apple 100% would have taken that thing. However, it does leave Bailey a bit more vulnerable to the Rintra. Crossbones can take Rintra, but it's not really the safest matchup in this meta. If you don't get a very cooperative AI, it can be a pain in the butt. So let's see what Bailey does here. I'm expecting, okay, we're going to see the Deathless Thanos here first. So that's going to be a pretty quick and easy Shothra fight for Apple. Let's see what Bailey does against this Rintra. Going to go for the Shothra. That's a little bit surprising. Maybe Bailey's considering Crossbones for Korg. Nope, switches it back over to the Crossbones or potentially the Sasquatch. Wow, going for Sasquatch here. We haven't really seen too much Sasquatch on offense in this meta. Looks like Apple's going to switch over and go for the Juggernaut versus the Deathless Thanos. That is an even rank matchup that realistically, with how good Apple is, I'm expecting that to be about a 50-second fight. So Bailey's going to need some pretty crazy crit RNG out of Sasquatch here. But man, it is a rank 4, so let's see how this rank 4 performs. Going to bait this SP1 out on this side. Apple's already in the rotation against Thanos, just needs those special attacks to be thrown. Should be seeing a heavy out of Sasquatch there. And gonna bait the SP2, goes for 2 mediums, gets those ruptures, but man, that damage is just not really there just yet. Let's see if he gets a crit. No crit. Man. Can he get back to another SP2 in this Wrath? If he does, there's a chance. He does not. He's going to have to bait out this SP2. On the other end, we're seeing Thanos' health is already down to under 50%. Man, yeah, and he did take a little bit of damage in this fight. We're talking about Bailey here. It's looking like, yeah, man, those SP2s on blocks have to either be parries or you're just going to have to try to dex it. It's not going to be enough against a player of Apple's caliber. And yeah, we're seeing that round loss strictly due to those 2 SP2s taken on the block there. So, either Bailey needed to parry those. I think if Bailey parries those, he might get this round. But unfortunately does not. It's definitely a potentially kind of a sketchy parry. If you don't get that parry off, you're going to die. But man, Bailey really needed that round because the rest of this draft is definitely, I would say, in Apple's favor. So we're going to see Korg out of Apple here. And then we're going to see Zola out of Bailey. This is going to set up like Apple's maybe looking at that Mantis. That's interesting. I'm curious to see how... I don't think Mantis is going to be very great in this matchup. But yeah, we should be seeing Crossbones out of Korg. I believe this is a throw around for Apple. Still not too sure why Apple didn't just go ahead and use the Shothra there. Didn't really need Shothra for round 3 in my opinion, but maybe there's a whole plan to this whole thing. And maybe Mantis does this fight way better than I thought, but yeah, it goes in for the punish while Zola has the SP1. So mistake early on out of Apple here. Bailey's not really getting any crits at all uh, from the crossbone side to get those Furies built up, but finally does and goes ahead and throws the striker here. That is potentially a mistake because he's going to need that striker ideally to pause his Furies. Man, this is a problematic Korg right now. It is not giving him anything at all. And Apple is gonna be just really slowly but surely trying to take this Zola down. Oh, we're seeing Bailey get hit here, man. If the other side of this match wasn't so problematic for Apple, this would not be looking good for Bailey. But it is on the other side, so Bailey has a little bit of room for error here. Gets parried, but it doesn't matter. Oh man, this is just not going well for Bailey at all. But we're seeing both players get hit on each side, so I think Bailey might be all right here at the end. Yeah, we're seeing Apple get hit even more here. Bailey currently has the health advantage. Just needs to get this SP2 off before those Furies start to fall off. Either way, gets a couple more Furies, and yeah, this fight should be over for Bailey. Yep. So definitely a throw round out of Apple here. Is this Apple's second account, or did she change name? No, this is Apple's main account. Did change names, yeah. So yeah, we're sitting at Onslaught on defense. And Onslaught on defense for Bailey. And Zola on defense for Apple. I'm curious to see what Apple does defensively here. Or excuse me, offensively. Let's see if Apple uses the Titania, risks the Intimidate not working, or does Apple just go for the Shothra? Maybe that's why Apple saves the Shothra. Bailey definitely has to go for Shothra here. And looks like Apple does not go for Shothra, is going to stick with the Titania, which is definitely a more consistent fight, but it's maybe a little bit less reliable. Oh, and Apple says saving Shothra for Crossbones, which does make sense. However, Titania definitely can work in that fight. So we're seeing Bailey go ahead and get the SP1 off here. Gonna need to get a heavy counter. Does not get the heavy counter. It's not looking good for Bailey. Yep, there's the heavy. We're gonna see SP1 here. It's pushed to SP2. He doesn't want him to throw the SP2. Does throw the SP2, unfortunately. This is not looking great for Bailey. It's a lot of health loss. Yeah, and oh, Intimidate was working, but Onslaught does throw that SP2. It looks like it's not going to matter, though. That was definitely a little bit lucky in terms of the fact. I mean, Onslaught wasn't at SP3, so Apple did play it somewhat safe. But yeah, this is going to be a 3-0 for Bailey, or excuse me, 3-0 for Apple. Yeah, just really not enough here. However, that Apple definitely, yeah, he could have closed it out in the second round. I think if Apple used Shothra, but safe plays. And we got that 3-0 out of Apple here. Let's see if Apple can close it out with the 4-0. Bailey's been playing this tournament, been doing the matches very well, but it just small little mistakes, unfortunately, on Bailey's end have been holding him back. And that's the thing, man. When you're facing somebody like Apple, you cannot make those small mistakes. You have to play just about perfectly if you want to win the match. Damn, I'm shaking right now. Hey, Jackie, did you see I did just ask, are you going to be available at all to play your match after this one or not? No worries if not. But if you are, we'll jump straight into that match. Yeah, Apple's definitely looking a bit scary right now, man. This tournament's fire join every moment. Hey, appreciate that, man. It's definitely it's been so much fun just watching all the streams and whatnot. So we see Bailey grab the Titania Super Versatile Champion off rip there, and then Apple grabs the Chieelth and the Zola. So Bailey then gets a Zola himself, and then gets Juggernaut, another versatile champion there. So we're gonna actually see Apple. This is the first Electro we've seen all tournament, I believe. That can be countered fairly easily. Just needs one Crossbones. So it looks like Apple goes with a reroll and gets the Dust and the Juggernaut. That Dust is huge. I'm really not sure what Bailey's counters for Dust are. I don't know if Bailey has many very good counters in his deck. We might see a reroll here out of Bailey. Let's see. No reroll. So it looks like Bailey's probably going to be looking at Titania as the counter for that Dust. However, Apple could potentially take. We're gonna see. It looks like the ban was shifted back to Thanos as well for Bailey, and Apple gets the Kushala, very talented champion. We're very talented with that champion, and we're gonna see Apple grab the Black Cat as well. Potentially is a very big pickup at the end here. I think we're gonna see Sasquatch, and we may. I mean, man, I don't know who else we're going to see here because a lot of these attackers really aren't great. We might see the Spiral and the Sasquatch. Let's see, it goes for the Venom. I'm really not too sure what Venom's for. Maybe just to attempt to avoid a problematic matchup in this last round, but Apple gets probably what's going to be the null, or I guess can go for the Deadpool X-Force as well. That Deadpool X-Force is going to be Apple's counter for Korg, I'd imagine, which is going to be very valuable. Apple only has 2 real defenders, but those 2 defenders are very problematic for Bailey. So we're going to see Bailey throw that Sasquatch down here. I think we're going to be seeing the Black Cat for the Sasquatch. Yeah, he'll play Apple right after his match. Perfect. Glad we were able to line it up. And then, yep, there's the Titania versus Dust. Really not an ideal matchup, in my opinion. It's not very easy. Throwing those heavies into Dust's block, that gives you the Sandstorm. So you really have to play this fight perfectly up to that point, and you're probably going to take a little bit of health loss. Goes for the light off rip, doesn't get it. Let's see how he plays it. Doesn't go for any hits. Kind of playing this as a intercepting kind of a fight. On the other end, we have Apple with Black Cat. And man, yeah, I think this is going to be pretty fast fight out of Apple here, man. I'm just not sure if Bailey's going to have enough range. He's getting a really stingy Dust here that doesn't want to throw the SP2. Gets the parry Dex, beautiful play, but man, we're about to start seeing Sasquatch's health tick down fast. Sasquatch has not reached Wrath yet, so this is definitely helpful for Bailey. It's slowing this fight down by quite a lot. Yeah, we're seeing 8 charges there, going on 9 here. Let's see if he eventually hits Wrath. This is not working well for Apple's timing. However, does get the Wrath finally, and we see Bailey get the SP3 rotation off. Bailey has taken more health loss than Apple. Apple takes a hit. That's huge. That's absolutely massive for Bailey. And Bailey's getting these hits in, taking a little Sandstorm damage at the end like we predicted, but it doesn't matter. Huge win for Bailey here. That is where that rank 4 Sasquatch really comes into play for Bailey here. That's massive. Very well played by Bailey with the Titania versus Dust 2. That's not an easy matchup. So let's see what Bailey plans defensively here. Like I said, Apple only really had 2 defenders. So I think we see Jug saved for round 3. I think we're gonna see Korg out of Bailey here. Yeah. Ooh, do we? I feel like you gotta go Korg, man. I feel like you gotta go Korg. Korg could be a much faster fight than Zola. He's thinking about it though. He's really thinking about it. And yep, locks in the Korg. We should be seeing Deadpool X-Force here. And I think we're gonna see Black Widow Deadly Origin for this fight. Yep, there's a Black Widow Deadly Origin. So Bailey has the round 3 advantage by quite a lot. He's gonna probably have to face the Chiothon defense. Black Widow, I have seen Bailey do this fight too with Black Widow Deadly Origin. So I was really curious to see how he did this fight. Man, this health is taken down fast though. Dang, Black Widow might be the GOAT. Whoa. We're seeing Apple on the other end. Has got to get some intercepts off. Does get the intercepts, so that's huge. Gets those rock shields down for the moment. Going for another intercept. Doesn't get it, so he's going to need to get a stand up here probably. Looking for that stand up. Goes for the relic instead. Smart play out of Apple there. Just a safe bet. Goes for the SP2 to get the rest of the rock stacks off while not having to get any of that physical damage. I did not see what happened on Bailey's end, but looks like took a little bit of damage, unfortunately. And let's see, should just go for a combo here to try to finish this one out. Does not get it, but does get the heavy counter. Gets the stun off of the heavy, and this fight should be over, but it's too much damage taken, unfortunately, for Bailey. Whereas Apple's going to lose that Daunted, though. This is going to start to lose some health, too. This is not looking good for Apple. That's the problem in this fight. You really have to build up close to an SP3 with Deadpool, or you're going to lose that timing. So this is going to be a round win for Apple. Or excuse me, for Bailey. I keep getting them switched up. Do we see the reverse sweep out of Bailey? Regardless, great job there, not getting swept. I definitely see Apple's rationale of throwing that SP1 to get those rock shields down without having to deal with any intercepts, but I really do think Apple had to build up more power there. Like as I said, as we saw the rotation kind of get messed up because of that. All right. So it looks like Apple's sticking with the same exact bands, and Bailey kind of has been going back and forth between the Kushala and Thanos bands. Let's see what Bailey decides to do here. I really do think the Thanos band makes a little bit more sense. I'm not sure if Bailey has Kushala in his deck, which would make sense why we'd see the Kushala band. Really thinking about it here from Bailey, though, and goes for the Kushala. Okay. Goes ahead and probably gets the Deathless Thanos off rip, or the Black Widow Deadly Origin. Okay, standing corrected. The problem with Black Widow Deadly Origin is these two champions right here, both Deathless Thanos and Onslaught greatly counter. Bailey's gonna grab the rank 4 Sasquatch again, but the worry in that is that Apple's going to get the Titania. If Apple gets Titania, that really nullifies the Sasquatch. But yeah, we're really not seeing the attackers come out of Bailey here. I'm sure Bailey wants to take that Zola, but doesn't. Goes for the reroll here. That makes a lot of sense. Gets the Titania. That's absolutely massive for Bailey. Gonna need to eventually get a Thanos counter. Grabs the Dust. That should be a fairly easy matchup for Shothar, though. Dust will counter the Atuma, so that's going to be valuable here. But we're going to see Apple grab the Domino and also Dust as well. Now, we are going to probably see Bailey grab. Yep, Bailey's going to grab the Photon, and then who are we going to see him get? We're also going to see him grab the Deathless Thanos. So if Apple does not get a photon counter here at the end, and realistically, I don't really know how great Shield will do in that matchup. Not a bad champion by any means for it, but not the fastest, that's for sure. And we're gonna see Bailey probably have to use the Thanos to counter that rank 3 Domino. So let's see what Bailey does first here. We might be seeing, okay, we're gonna see the dust. I don't know how much Bailey knows, but I definitely have seen Apple do that fight in about 45 seconds. We're gonna see Apple throw arguably their best defender down here. I think we're probably gonna see, yep, Black Widow Deadly Origin. There's a lot of hits out of Black Widow Deadly Origin though. She's somewhat similar to Okoye in this matchup, to where it's just too many hits. It's gonna kind of be a pain for Bailey to manage the unstoppables out of Thanos. Gets the shocks though off rip, so that's not too bad. The shocks just don't last long enough though, in my opinion. And oh my gosh, I didn't see what happened, but this is not going well for Apple on the other end. Apple is almost dead already and is gonna die to the sandstorm. This is gonna be about 90% health, and man, wow, that was. I wasn't expecting to have to look over to that side and that fast. I thought I would be looking at a much quicker matchup with Shothra taking down Dust. This fight's actually going fairly well, but yep, there's the unstoppable. Luckily, doesn't get punished. Of course, we know none of this matters. Bailey has this round. Let's see. But yeah, this fight's actually not as bad as I thought it would be. This is a rank 4 Thanos too. So that's good to know. We know that he's probably going to be, still taking Black Widow Deadly Origin as an extra counter for this Thanos. Managing the Unstoppables really well here. This fight should be done in about 10 seconds as the health ticks down. But yep, has to wait out the Unstoppables here. Does, and now the fight should be over. Yep, SP2. Bailey has this round. All right, now this might shift back into Bailey's favor. Bailey's going to need to use, probably going to need to bait out the Juggernaut in some way here. Let's see what Apple does defensively here, though. Yep, we're going to see the Dust, which is arguably the most problematic defender that Bailey has to deal with. We're going to see Sasquatch placed here. So we should be seeing a round 4 or round 3 Photon. Probably going to see Juggernaut here. I'd be surprised if we don't. Yep, we got the Juggernaut. And we're probably going to see Void used on offense here. Bailey needs all the other champions. Does Bailey go for Dust? Bailey might try to go for the win here. Juggernaut, yep, nope. Switches it over to Void. Safer bet for sure. And this is a rank 4 Void too. Sig 200 offensively. This could be a doable fight for him to get down. This is not not a full-on throw around, like he's not going to win it, but ooh, he's getting a problematic Dust AI as well. Takes 2 hits off rip. This is going to be a lot of power on Sasquatch's side. Hey, we got my girl in the chat. What up, baby? And yeah, we're going to see. I mean, I just still feel pretty good about Juggernaut against this Sasquatch. Just has to play it smart. Don't push Sasquatch to SP3. Should have this round. Goes for the SP2 there. We're going to start seeing that healing. But I don't think it really matters too much. So a very good calculated throw around out of Bailey here. Seeing that the regens are definitely stacking up, but this SP2 is going to do it. Yep. And on the other end, Apple's getting this fight down fairly well. Dust is really ticking down right now. That's about 1% health per second with the Fear of Void up. So another matchup that is potentially doable for Bailey down the road. Yeah, that was really fast. Bailey was really hoping that Sasquatch would cause a bit more of an issue for Juggernaut, but unfortunately didn't. This is a big reason why we haven't seen many rank 4 Sasquatches, just because of how well Jugs takes Sasquatch in most metas, as well as how well Titania takes him, and a couple other science champions are very useful against Sasquatch. But we're going to go to round 3. This is where Bailey wants to be. We're definitely going to be seeing Domino on defense out of Apple here. And wow, there's no way that he goes Titania, right? Yeah, there's no way. Going for the Thanos makes a lot of sense. I'm sure Bailey wishes he had a rank 4 Deathless Thanos right now. But let's see how well Apple does this fight. Oops, does not go for the Shield. Switches to the Onslaught instead, so didn't feel very good about what Shield could do in that fight. Does make sense. Both players go for Lights Off Rift. Neither of them get punished for it. And we're seeing Apple start to maneuver here in this fight. We're also seeing Bailey play it well. Has to get some of these refreshes. Does get the refresh, and this fight's looking like it's in Bailey's control, but anything can really happen against Domino. Yeah, this is looking pretty good for Bailey here. Very, very fast on the counter there. We should be seeing, see, bait out this SP2. This is going to be a very slow fight on Apple's side as well. Yeah, this fight's, it's getting taken down fast. Should be seeing the SP2 out of here. I'm not going to get any crits, unfortunately. Was unlucky, but regardless, this is a very fast fight, and it's over, man. Bailey is on that comeback. We got the 3-2 for Bailey, man. Making it interesting. I love it. And that was a beautiful fight out of Apple as well, by the way. As we were talking, just watching Apple absolutely perfectly cook that Photon. Of course, it's a rank 3 Photon and a rank 4 Onslaught, so a little bit of an advantage there. But regardless, super, super well played by both opponents. And yeah, Bailey is trying to make this comeback. Let's see if we can get the first on-stream Game 7. Gotta head out, but great match and great announcing. Hey, appreciate that, man. Thanks for stopping by. We will have a match after this. The opponent waiting is Jackie, so Jackie's going to be waiting for either Apple or Bailey. Bailey's sticking with these same bands, I believe. Looking at that tech class a little bit. And then we're seeing Apple sticking with the same bands as well. I believe those are the same bands. Maybe I'm wrong. Was Nick Fury there? I can't remember. Regardless, Apple grabs the Zola off rip, and Bailey's going to get the Onslaught and Juggernaut. Apple's really going to be looking for Titania there. Goes ahead and grabs the Mantis. That can potentially be an Onslaught counter. That does also shut down the potential of a Photon defensive pick. So smart defensive, offensive drafting out of Apple here, and we're going to see Bailey. We're going to see Bailey grab the Titania and maybe the Shothra. Might switch back to the Dust though. Dust is really valuable defender. We saw what Dust did the last round. Of course, it all fell apart unfortunately for Apple in that match. I think we're probably going to see a reroll here out of Apple. Clicks on the Shuri, but I don't really know how valuable any of these champions are going to be for Apple. And goes for the Weapon X as well, the 6-star Weapon X. Yeah, goes for both of those. So now we're going to see Bailey definitely grab that Shothra. We might be seeing, actually we may not see the Shothra because we might see Black Widow Deadly Origin and Deathless Thanos. We know how much Bailey likes to use that Black Widow Deadly Origin against the Zola, but instead goes for the Venom, which is going to be just a perfect counter for Apple's Shuri. And now Apple's going to get the Onslaught here, And my guess is probably going to grab the Shothra as well. Needs a counter for Bailey's Dust. See what Apple does here, though. I feel like it's got to be the Shothra. No, oh, yep, there's the Shothra. There it is. So now Bailey is in a perfect spot, really, to could grab the Shothra, could grab Deadpool, could also grab Maestro. Ooh, switches it up last round, and okay, is gonna get the bullseye. I do think that reroll was not necessary though. You really could have grabbed that Maestro and forced the Shothra, or split the Shothra between both Maestro and Dust. Let's see how Apple starts this one off. Goes for the null. Null is a little bit of an issue for Bailey. Um, and of course, Bailey does have this bullseye now. We might see the bullseye thrown down here. Yep, there's the bullseye. Of course, Apple defensively drafted the Weapon X with the thought that Bailey could potentially get that bullseye. And it looks like we're going to see him use Venom in this fight. Null does have some bleed resistance, so we'll see how this goes. This is a 6-star Ascended Weapon X, so it's not going to be the fastest fight. We're definitely going to see some health loss taken out of Apple here. We see Bailey get a precision off rip. That's huge. But as you see, the bleeds really aren't doing that much damage. A nice little intercept there. Oh no, gets the SP1 into block. That's not good at all. However, Apple has already taken some health loss here. Not going to heal back any of that red damage as well. Gonna see, really just trying to get this fight down fast. But man, just the 6-star Ascended Weapon X. Oh, starting to take some hits as well. Apple's going to probably come out of this fight with around 60% health. Is healing up a fair amount. I'm going to see this SP2 thrown out of bullseye here though. Man, I wasn't looking at Bailey, but definitely outpaced the reverse controls there. Just got to dex this SP2, and this fight should be over. Bullseye pick was definitely very valuable. That was an underrated pick that I did not pick up on. That 6-star Weapon X, it does not have enough range to get Bullseye down fast enough before taking a lot of health loss. He's out of rerolls. I didn't see that. That's a good shout, Andy. Yeah, looks like this round is really very well set up for Bailey again, man. We might be seeing a game 7 here, and I'm so excited for it. Now Bailey can split that Shothra. We might be seeing a Shothra split here. I believe Apple's probably going to be forced to use the Mantis here against Dust, which is very doable. It's not easy, but it's doable. And we're gonna see Bailey go for the Titania or the Juggernaut here. That's the big question. I think he felt pretty good about his Juggernaut fight against Zola early on, so he's just gonna stick with the Juggernaut versus Zola, and Titania versus Onslaught, like we saw Apple do earlier. It's a very, very doable matchup in about 55 to 60 seconds. Of course, you can do faster than that, but you need some perfect AI for that. So let's just say this is going to be about a 50-second fight, as long as Bailey doesn't get hit here. And we need a perfect AI for Dust to not stutter step these intercepts. And getting these intercepts off perfectly right now, this is going great. But on the other side, ooh, does unfortunately waste the relic. That should still be okay though. It shouldn't harm him too much. He's getting this SP2 bait out, playing it really perfectly. Apple's trying to bait out this SP1, gets the SP1 to bait out in the corner so you can counter that, gets the Infuriate again. This might be a really fast fight for Apple. I don't know if this is going to kill though. This is only 18 charges. Let's see if it does. Ooh, Bailey took some health loss too. This is going to be a round loss for Bailey. Yeah, wow. Perfect fight out of Apple. And that's exactly what Dust can do for you. Or excuse me, what Mantis can do for you. That does take a really, really kind AI out of Dust to properly let you intercept. One slip up there probably would have lost Apple the match. So had to be perfect. It was. So let's see how this round 3 goes. We should definitely be seeing onslaught out of Bailey here. And we'll definitely see Zola on defense. Now in normal metas, this would be a quick, easy Thanos fight, but with how this meta is, you can't really get those stuns off, so Bailey's going to have to go for the Juggernaut versus Zola. We saw Bailey do this with 100% health earlier. So let's see if Bailey can do that again. If that's the case, Bailey should have this round, but Apple's a phenomenal Shothra player. Gets hit on the first hit of the SP1 to get that willpower healing. Very well played so far. Bailey on the other end is also playing this extremely well. Needs to bait out this SP1. We need Zola to play ball here. Zola's not throwing the SP1. He's just going to go for it with the SP2. He's going to take damage from the SP2 here out of Zola. Meanwhile, Apple on the other side is looking just about perfect. It should come out of this fight with 100% health, but will it be fast enough is the question. And we're seeing Bailey going to get up to this SP2 again, throw it. This is looking like it's going to be really fast. Ooh, gets hit by that heavy, loses some health here. Oh no, that heavy might lose him this. And Apple's going to go for it, gets the win. 61 seconds. I think it was that SP1 at the end there, or excuse me, the heavy. Man, Bailey played that well, but man, there it is. Unfortunately, not well enough. Extremely well played by both opponents. This was a super fun match to cast over. But Apple's going to go ahead and take this win. 4-2, avoids the Game 7. Yet again, another opponent avoiding the Game 7. We'll see it eventually, hopefully, but very, very well played by both opponents. GG's to both of them. I'm going to throw that in here. All right, saying GG's to both opponents. That was a very fun match to watch. Really well played by the two of them. So with that, looks like we're just gonna switch over the ending soon screen. All right, so with that, we should be seeing the Apple versus Jackie match next here. So we're gonna end this stream. Excuse me. We're gonna end this stream, and we're gonna start up a new one. Just double checking here that both players can play. I don't want to give you guys false information. See, Jackie they should both be playing, but just gonna hold off just for a second here. Okay, Jackie's gonna be able to play. Just checking in with Apple if Apple's gonna be able to play this match. If Apple needs to go do something else. I need to lie down. Can't believe he's gonna go again. Yeah. All right. Looks like we're gonna go ahead and have Apple versus Jackie next. So, like I said, with all the other streams, we're gonna end this one, and then start up a new one so that we have separate VODs for that for anybody rewatching. So the next match is Apple versus Jackie. That's going to be up in about 5 to 10 minutes. Once we get everything set up on both ends, we have Apple ready. I just need to get things situated on my end. We got to get Jackie starting his stream up as well, and we'll be going. So stay tuned for that. Refresh my channel, refresh my page, and we'll get into this round 2 match.